church, so I like a call and response. I'm sorry, I may not use this as much because I like to move around. It's part of my attention deficit, so just forgive me a little bit on this. So, my remarks won't be too long, but they will be a little bit of a setup for our more accomplished speakers who are going to happen. Doug is going to talk. So he'll tell you a little bit about Bowling Green 2050.
Would you mind holding that?
I sure will hold it, but oh, that's really loud. So, quick question for you. How many have ever felt overwhelmed? Yeah, that's pretty much all of us. Yeah. So, those times when you feel overwhelmed, can you tell me, how does it make you feel?
Panic attack.
Panic attack. What else? Anxious. Someone said out of breath. What else? Uncreative. Ooh, you went straight for the jugular on that one. What else? Tired, hopeless? Paralyzed. Tell me more about paralyzed. Yeah, of course. I'm an educator. I always like to go deeper if I can. Tell me.
I feel like I can't do anything.
Yeah.
So I just freeze.
Physically, what do you feel?
Pressure.
Pressure. And I think that during those times when we think about our world and we think about projects and we think about initiatives and we think about how we're going to change our world, we hear that a lot, right? We grow up in telling our kids, like I used to tell my 9-year-old, I don't tell him this anymore. It's like, buddy, you're gonna change your world. That's a lot of pressure to put on a 9-year-old. You think about how horrible parenting that is? To tell a kid, you're gonna change your world. And he's looking at me like, yes, Dad, I am. And I was like, that's probably not gonna happen, buddy. I can't even get you to get ready in the morning. That's just not gonna happen. But when the pressure comes because we need to think about defining our world. Like, the size and scope of your world is important. It allows you to be able to think tangibly about what you can do and what actions you can take to accomplish whatever mission or projects that you have. Defining your world is so important in changing your world. And also just realize your world can change. As you grow older, as you gain more knowledge, as you meet more people, as you make more connections, your world continues to grow. And that's when it's more difficult to start to refine what it is. For me right now, my world is Warren County. My world is Potter College of Arts and Letters within WKU. My world is Tiffany Bostic Brown and Copeland Brown. My world is Terrance Brown. So within the scope of that world, I need to define what those elements and what those people mean to me in order to change it. So, Rabbi Freeman said, well, people over here probably can't see it, so I'm going to read it to you. We are not passive observers of this universe, but rather partners in its creation. We are the ones who assign each thing its meaning. Like, think about that. We assign things their meaning. Think about how much power that is. How much power to be able to assign meaning. Who bring definition and resolution to an otherwise ambiguous world. Let that sink in for a second. So when we think about these worlds that we're talking about, we have to know that there's a charge that's hidden in there. And that charge to me means that as humans, we have to have a fire of assertiveness. And being assertive seems like such a throw-around word, doesn't it? It seems like budgets and higher education reform and bipartisanship, all those things that we like to throw around and hope we can get to. But assertiveness is a really strong word. It helps humans jumpstart from moving to being passive to being active. I have come to a place in my life where I realize that I will no longer sit by and complain and do nothing about it. I will now have set myself up to be an active voice and an active force in my community. No longer will I let the boundaries of race, gender, creed, ethnicity, cultural division determine my world. Yes, I'm not naive to think that those things don't exist. However, I realize that I am the change agent. I am the one who can be active. I am the one who can be assertive. I am the one who determines my world, and I get to define it. So I wish somebody would come in my house and tell me, Brown, you need to do this. And I was like, you know what? That's so kind. But you don't live in my world. And you don't know my world. And I have done the work to define my world. Still with me? Still with me? All right, let the church say amen. Here we go. So when we talk about step 2, valuable innovation, listen, I love innovation more than anybody. We're in a room filled with innovation. Buddy's going to talk about his leadership and innovation later. And you can see it actually materialize into something, so everything he says is going to be valuable. What I don't like is innovation that's just there just for the purpose of saying we're being innovative. I would like to get a room of people together who can work on this project, and I need innovators. Whoop-de-doo. What value does it have? What is my ROI? What is my return on this innovation investment? That is what I want to know. That is what you always have to think in defining your world. Is my innovative practice valuable? Because if it's not, it's useless. And you can say it, quote Terrance Brown today, if innovation has no value, it is useless. So, be assertive, be active, and have valuable innovation. Oh, another quote. Howard Gardner was at Harvard. He said, stories constitute the single most powerful weapon in a leader's arsenal. In order to define your world, you have to tell the story. Now, let me be clear. No offense to our advertising, public relations people in here. A story has to go beyond just its marketability. It has to be believable. Because, excuse my French, people know bullshit. They know it. They can smell it, they can see it, they can identify, and then they don't want to be a part of it. Don't insult their intelligence. When you're telling your story, know that your story has value. Valuable storytelling, man, it can ignite whatever change you need it to be. I believe, say for instance, a part of my story, I have a pleasure of leading some great people in PCAL. And a part of that was recognizing their skill sets and their value, and then using that to build a college-wide identity. That's why when you go around and you see people wear these red shirts that say, I am PCAL, it's because I believe in their value. And I want them to know their value. And we have to tell the story of that value for the humanities, the arts, and the social sciences to survive. Because if we don't know the value and we're not able to effectively tell that story, why should people believe it? We can't sit in a room no longer and say, oh, people don't believe in the arts and humanities anymore. Good. Why? Tell the story. Allow them to ignite that assertiveness that allows a whole group of people to say, we want to ally and partner with you because we believe in your story. We believe in the value of your story. We believe in the transformative abilities of your story. No longer can you sit there and be passive. So, there are 3 individuals who I have the pleasure of being the, opening act for. And they have worked to define their worlds. Buddy took a piece of crap space that had rats and roaches. Man, I promise, it was horrible. I saw pictures. I even saw some of it in the theater area when we were cleaning out. It was horrible. And look where we are today. A place where we can have conversations about moving our society forward, moving civic engagement forward from the place of conversation to action. What I hate, and I will say academics are worse about this, we love to sit in the room and talk about all the problems and then come up with no action plan. Buddy moved past that and made an action plan. Rusty, when the coal mines in Appalachia started to close, I know this all too well because I come from a coal mining town called West Blockton, Alabama. You've probably never heard of it, but can you know why? Because the story never got out. West Blockton was originally Blockton, and it burned to the ground because somebody in the cleaners decided to leave a fire on overnight, burn the whole town down. I tell you, that's a story. Burn the whole thing down. And they built to the west of it, so it was called West Blockton. Yeah, not that great, but it was a coal mining town. And from there, they never could reimagine what it could look like. Rusty is working with those communities and have worked with communities to be what is your future beyond coal mining? What do your people do? How can they make a living? How can they have a new story to tell? Doug. I'm gonna tell you, Doug is one of my favorite people. Every time I meet him, I'm starting to love him more and more because he is real. And I'm not campaigning. Am I campaigning for you right now? Okay. I will campaign for him because I can vote for him, so that's good. Every time I see Doug, I have gotten the same person every time. I have never gotten, so good to meet you. It's great. I'm Doug Gorman. I want to be here today and I want to politics and earn your vote. Nope, don't get that. Doug believes in Bowling Green and Warren County. He believes and knows the secret that most people don't. You know what's going to change Bowling Green and Warren County? That's the question. Yeah, what's going to change it? Yes, the people are going to change it. And his investment are in the people. And you will find that that will be the common thread for all of these individuals. They have defined their worlds by investing in the people because those people will move into action, and that action will allow for effective change and innovation that has value.